Verse number 17.11 to 13. Afalakankshirbhiryajño vidhidishto ya ijyate yastavyam eveti manaha samadhaya sa satvikaha. Of sacrifices, the sacrifice performed according to the directions of scripture as a matter of duty by those who desire no reward is of the nature of goodness. Okay, let's try to understand this. In this section, Lord Shri Krishna is speaking about the sacrifices in the three modes of material nature. So sacrifices are yajna, right? Krishna explains the importance of yajna, and he says that yajnarthat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. That means work must be performed as a sacrifice for Vishnu. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction, and in that way, you will always remain free from bondage. So, the purpose of this sacrifice is that we are doing it for the satisfaction of Vishnu. And Lord Krishna gives a detail about what is this yajna in the chapter number 3 and chapter number 4. And Krishna explains that anybody who does not follow in the human life the cycle of sacrifice as established in the Vedas certainly leads a life full of sin. So this yajna or sacrifice is very important because as a result of this sacrifices, we get rains. It said, Annat bhavanti bhutani parjanyo anna sambhavaha. That means all the living entities subsist on food grains which are produced from rains. And rains are produced by the performance of yajna. And yajna is born of the prescribed duties. So this is the background of yajna. So why we should do yajna or sacrifice is because we get rains from the sacrifice. And Krishna is recommending that sacrifice a lot. Right? So now, coming to today's verse, that is Krishna is explaining about the sacrifices in the three modes of material nature. There are three types of sacrifices. Let's talk about the first type of sacrifice that we just spoke about. This is a mode of goodness. So what is the characteristics of a sacrifice in the mode of goodness? Afala kankshibhir yajno. Afala kankshibhir. Afala means not desiring any kind of a reward. And that's the first word. And it says vidhi dishto. Vidhi dishto means it's a matter of duty and performed according to the directions of the scriptures. So generally when we do any kind of a sacrifice, right? Whether it is temple rituals, right? When we go to a temple and we take even the coconut, we offer it. These are generally performed with the purpose of material benefit. Am I right? And any kind of sacrifice that is performed with the purpose of material benefit is not mode of goodness. With an expectation of a result, that's not mode of goodness. Okay. So the idea is, this shloka is very clearly saying that we should go to the temple as a matter of duty. Why do we go to the temple? And people go to temple, people go to churches. Why do they go to the temple or church? As a matter of duty, they are supposed to be going to offer the respect to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? That is to offer respect to the Supreme Lord. And then we are supposed to be offering flowers and eatables without any purpose of obtaining material benefit. And it is not recommended in the scriptural injunctions or the Vedas to worship for economic benefit. So the perfect kind of worship is to worship without any expectation in result. Nadhanam najanam na sundarim kavitam va jagadisha kamaye Mama Janmani Janmani Ishware Bhavatat Bhaktir Ahaituki Tvai. This is a verse from Shikshastakam given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Generally, when we do the Sankalpa, we will say Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, Chaturvida, Phala, Purushartham, right? And Aishwarya, Abhishta, right? And so many other things, Ashtaishwarya, Arogya, like that, we say so many things. But the essence of the scripture is that Nadanam, Najanam, Nasundarim, Kavitamba, Jagadisha Kamaya. That means, oh my dear Lord Krishna, I'm not expecting any kind of money, or I'm not trying to amass any kind of followers here, okay? Or nor do I want to show my, wisdom as a great poet, nor I want to accumulate women. All I want is your devotional service, life after life. This is the perfect prayers that we are supposed to be offering. So the idea is we go to the temple and we offer a respect to the deity. This is in the mode of goodness. So this is the duty for everybody to follow the injunctions of the scripture and offer respect to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this verse is very important in that way, which conveys us how we are supposed to be having our mood or mindset or attitude when we go to a temple, right? So we see there's different kind of performances of fire sacrifices in the scriptures, and they can be classified in three modes of material nature: mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. And if we see some examples in the mode of goodness, we have the fire sacrifice performed by Yudhishthir Maharaj called Rajasuya Yajna. This fire sacrifice, Rajasuya Yajna, was performed by Yudhishthir Maharaj and was encouraged by Krishna himself. And with the help of this Rajasuya Yajna, Yudhishthir Maharaj was able to assert his position as the emperor. Okay. And also he performs 3 Ashwamedha Yajnas, right, after the Mahabharata Kurukshetra war. And then we see in Ramayana, there is a famous Yajna which is performed by King Dasharath Maharaj. First, Dasharath Maharaj performs Ashwamedha Yajna, and then subsequently he performs the Putra Kameshri Yajna to carry forward his lineage. So, even though there is a desire which is expected in that, but it still is considered to be desireless because he was doing it to carry forward his lineage, not for any kind of a personal benefit. And it was conducted with the guidance of the great sages like sage Rishyashringa. And what was the result of this fire sacrifice? It resulted in the divine appearance of Lord Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, and Shatrugna. Another example of sacrifice is, when the residents of Vrindavan, they were preparing for worshipping Indra. With the help of a fire sacrifice, Lord Krishna stops them and asks them to perform a fire sacrifice for Govardhan instead. So they worship Govardhan Giri. So that is the Govardhan is devotee, right? Is Krishna himself and is Krishna's devotee. So worship of the devotee, right? So that is more important than anything else, right? Govardhan puja. So that's not in mode of passion. That's not in mode of ignorance. That is in mode of goodness. Or even above that, it's transcendental to the modes of material nature, right? Because the ultimate idea is Krishna is the ultimate benefactor of the sacrifices. Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwara. So the Bhokta, right, the ultimate enjoyer is Krishna. So we should have this in mind. So what is the use of a sacrifice which is performed, which is not satisfying Lord Krishna? Right? If you see, there's a story in Srimad Bhagavatam. What happens is, one day there was a fire sacrifice that was getting conducted by Brahmanas in Vrindavan, and all the cowherd boys, the friends of Krishna, they became very tired and they were hungry. And they come to Krishna and Balaram and they say, "We are feeling very hungry." So Krishna says, "There's a fire sacrifice going on nearby. Just go there and ask for food." And at this stage of the fire sacrifice, they distribute prasadam. They distribute the something called as yajna shishta, right? That is offering to the yajna. They give it to you now, right now. It's not a problem. So you can go and ask. So these innocent children, they go in front of these brahmanas and they ask for food. But those brahmanas, they don't even respond. Despite saying that Krishna and Balaram are hungry, give us some food. They don't care. And then what happens is the wives of these brahmanas, they are approached by these children upon the advice of Krishna and Balaram. They are devotees and therefore they immediately pack the food and they immediately personally pack it and they come and give it to Krishna, deliver it to Krishna. And Krishna becomes very satisfied. So this is very important, that we should not forget what is the purpose of these religious activities. The purpose of the religious activities is to please Krishna. Okay, there's a beautiful verse, okay, which comes in Srimad Bhagavatam. This is in the story of where Lord Krishna transforms himself into various calves, and Krishna transforms himself into the children of Vrindavan. So when the cowherd boys and the calves were stolen by Lord Brahma, Krishna transforms himself into children. And then these gopis, they think that it is their child, but it is actually Krishna. And they take care of Krishna, their son, and very nicely. And then they also give him milk, right? They give him mother's milk. So it is said in Srimad Bhagavatam that when Krishna took the mother's milk from the gopis, he was so satisfied that whatever fire sacrifice was done since the beginning of the time, whatever was offered in a fire sacrifice by all the Brahmanas with all the Vedic rituals, that did not satisfy him as much as how much the gopis had satisfied him by giving them mother's milk. So this is the essence of religion. Okay, religion is not meant for rituals. Okay, religion is all about a love of Godhead, and the residents of Vrindavana have demonstrated that very nicely. So the purpose of religion is samsiddhir haritoshanam. The purpose is that Krishna must become satisfied. That is the ultimate purpose. We should not forget that. So the pompous fire sacrifices which do not take care of this point, right? They're missing the whole point. We see that the religious functions are carried out with some material benefit, right? That is the next verse. We'll talk about that. 17.12. Abhisandhaya tu phalam dambhartam api chaiva yat ijjate bharata shrestha tam yajnam vidhi rajasam. But the sacrifice performed for some material benefit or for the sake of pride, O chief of Bharatas, you should know to be in the mode of goodness, passion, the mode of passion, right? It says abhisandhayatu phalam dambha artham. Abhisandhayatu phalam. Let's try to understand each of these words here. Abhisandhayatu phalam means sacrifice performed for some material benefit. And it says dambha artham means for the sake of pride. We see that sometimes people try to show off in these religious activities that they're very, very religious, or they want to show that they're very, very, very rich or something like that. They do it for the sake of pride, to show that they're very powerful, they're very rich, they're very good. This is in the mode of passion. Different examples can be taken from here, okay? You see, the Dhanur Yajna performed by Kamsa, right? It was actually showcase of his power. He was doing this Dhanur Yajna in Mathura. He wanted to assert his power. And in the name of this Dhanur Yajna, he wanted to call Krishna and Balaram, and he actually wanted to kill them. That was the purpose. So this is not the purpose of fire sacrifice. The purpose is to serve Krishna, right? But Kamsa's purpose was to kill Krishna. And we see in Ramayana, we see that Indrajit performs a yajna called Nikumbhila yajna, right? Where that fire sacrifice, he does it for getting some powers to fight in the war. But Lakshmana comes and destroys that fire sacrifice and subsequently kills Indrajit. So this is examples of modes of passion. It's performed for the sake of pride. It's not performed for the sake of satisfying the supreme, nor the rules and regulations of the scripture are followed. It's mostly for some material benefit. So it's actually an important lesson for all of us that religious activities are meant for satisfaction of Krishna, and definitely not for material benefits. Okay, let's go to the next one, 30th verse. Vidhihinam ashrishtanam mantrahinam adakshinam shraddha virahitam yajnam tamasam parichakshate. Any sacrifice performed without regard for the directions of the scripture, without distribution of prasadam, without chanting of the Vedic hymns and remuneration to the priests, and without faith is considered to be in the mode of ignorance. So what are the qualities of a sacrifice which is done in the mode of ignorance? Tamasika. Vidhihinam. Not following the directions of the scriptures. Ashrishtanam. That means not distributing prasadam. Mantrahinam. Not chanting the Vedic hymns. Adakshinam. Not offering remuneration to the priests. Shraddha virahitam, without any kind of faith, is said to be in the mode of ignorance. So this is the lowest of all kinds of sacrifice that is performed. It is absolutely without any faith if we perform these sacrifices or religious rituals. It is in the mode of ignorance. And then if there is no regard for the directions of the scripture, or chanting of the Vedic hymns, or distribution of prasad, or giving remuneration to the priest, it's also called as the mode of ignorance. So the idea is mode of ignorance is actually faithlessness. So there is faith and faithlessness, Shraddha and Ashraddha. Krishna says, Shraddhavan labate jnanam. That means those who have faith, they attain transcendental knowledge, and subsequently they can go back to Godhead. So we must have faith in the topmost religious principles, parodharma. That means the topmost religious principle is to satisfy Krishna. We must have faith in that real religious principle. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Ashraddhana Purusha Dharmasya Asya Param Tapaha Aprapya mam nivartante mrityu samsare vartmani. Not having faith, ashraddha, not having faith in the real religious activity, that actually results in coming back to this material world. Aprapya mam nivartante. We will never be able to go back to Godhead. Mrityu samsara vartmani. If we do not have faith in the scriptures, if we do not have faith in the spiritual master, in the instructions of the spiritual master, there is absolutely, it is not possible to go back to Godhead. We will have to return back here. Krishna is saying, Mrityu samsara vartmani. Mrityu means it's like a samsara is called Mrityu samsara. That means this is a cycle of birth and death. Particularly, it's a cycle of death, right? Because everybody here who is born is meant to die. And then, but that's not the purpose of human form of life. You know, the animals, they cannot do any kind of arrangement to save themselves from repeated death. But human beings can. They simply have to follow the benevolent instructions of Lord Krishna and the spiritual master. That's it. And then they can get rid of this cycle of birth and death forever. But then, ashraddha or shraddha virahitam means without faith. These kind of sacrifices which are performed without any faith, casually. This kind of activities, religious activities, if you do it casually without any faith in the instructions of the spiritual master, that is called faithlessness. That is called mode of darkness or mode of ignorance, tamas. And we also see sometimes people worship some demigods just to make some money and then spend the money for recreation, ignoring the scriptural injunctions. The real scriptural injunction is Bhagavad Gita, right? Which is the, Krishna says, this is the essence of the scriptures, the secret of the scriptures, the most important part of the scriptures, right? So the essence of the scriptural injunction is Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna is saying to worship Krishna himself. He's not encouraging demigod worship. But then people, they ignore these instructions of the essential scriptural injunction, and then they go ahead and worship demigods just to get some money and use that money for some kind of recreation. This kind of ceremonial activities or ceremonial shows of religiosity, they're only some kind of a show of religion, that we are also religious kind of a thing. They are not accepted as genuine. These are not genuine religious activities at all. They are all in the mode of darkness, because ultimately the mentality is demoniac mentality. The mentality of a demon, we have discussed that a demon thinks that there is nobody who is better than me. A demon thinks that now I am very, very wealthy. So much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more and more according to my schemes. This is a verse from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future more and more. He is my enemy, and I have killed him, and other enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I'm perfect, powerful, and happy. I'm the richest man surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is nobody who is so powerful and as happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices, I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. Krishna is talking about demoniac mentality. That is asura. The mentality of an asura is like this. So those people who are doing the mode of ignorance activities, ignoring the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, ignoring the instructions of the spiritual master, they are only doing some kind of religious shows. And this is simply a demoniac mentality, and actually it does not benefit the human society at all. Whatever worship that they're doing is not even helping them, nor is it helping the human society. So in conclusion, the purpose of fire sacrifice we have to understand, Yajno by Vishnu, that is the ultimate enjoyer is Vishnu. Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam. Right? The final Bhokta for all the fire sacrifices that we do, we should remember that it is for Vishnu. And some say they're Haritoshanam. We should do it for the satisfaction of Krishna. And we should follow the footsteps of the great Acharyas. Mahajanastuyena Gatastapanta. That means we should follow the footsteps of the great Mahajanas. How Mahajanas have performed sacrifices. Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, Yajnanam Japa Yajñosmi. Among all the kind of sacrifices and the chanting of the holy names of Krishna. So we must chant the names of Krishna. This is also yajna. And Krishna is saying this is the most important yajna. He is saying, I am Japa Yajna among all the yajnas, right? So this chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it is called as a Sankirtana Yajna, very much suitable for Kali Yuga. Okay, this does not require any kind of priest. It does not require us to buy any kind of offerings. Does not require for us to chant any Vedic mantras. But the result of performing all sacrifices, be it Ashwamedha Yajna or Rajasurya Yajna or Vajpayee Yajna, whatever Yajna is there in the Vedas, all those yajnas will be covered in the Sankirtana Yajna. So that is the importance of the chanting of the holy names of Krishna. So I recommend all of you to please keep chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So that serves the entire purpose. Yajnai Sankirtanai Prayahi Yajanti Sumedasa. In Kali Yuga, this is the fire sacrifice that is recommended. There's no need of any fire. All you have to do is chant. It doesn't require anything else. Okay. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Anybody has any questions or comments or would you like to add something? You can please go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, just to recollect our memory about that mongoose, which was, transformed it half into gold by the sacrifice performed by one of the kings who was very kind and so much so that he even gave up his last morsel and even water. The same mongoose did not get converted into gold when it attended Yudhishthira's sacrifice. So I'm actually not able to recollect it clearly or vividly. Please, can you just throw some light on it?
Um, I'm sorry, I don't know this story. Okay. There's a story of the golden mongoose. I'm not sure about
Mm.
this.
Okay, Prabhuji, I'll read about it. Thank
Sure.
you so much. This class was very comprehensively covered, Prabhuji, and thank you extreme. Thank you a lot. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna Mataji. It's a golden squirrel, and half of it is this thing. So when Yudhishthira is doing the yagna, the squirrel comes there. He keeps coming, and every time he comes, he goes back with just half the golden body. So, Yudhishthira is very surprised why it is. Then Krishna tells him that you have done the yagna with collecting taxes from people and you have not, given them this thing. Whereas that king, he even gave his last morsel of food to the beggar, like to even the water. He was so hungry. And like he did the yagna with a lot of sacrifice and that. So that is how he got his body converted into gold. I just the gist of it. I remember, like we keep hearing like so. That was the difference between both the yagnas, the one that king did and the one Yudhishthira Maharaj did.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
No,
I'll also read about it.
yeah.
Thank you very much.
If you, Mataji, if you read about it, you can tell us in class tomorrow, like because you know.
Sure,
Like,
sure, I'll do that. Yes, thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.